Hi, I'm Sarah Cowgill, along with Andrew Moran, Kelly Ballard, Graham Noble, and Dave Patterson. And this is the Conservative 5, Liberty Nation's online TV news program. Televisions across America and beyond turned in to see Trump's competition for the top spot on the GOP ticket. 8 hopefuls took the stage in Milwaukee and strutted their policy and personality stuff. As we already knew, Donald Trump was a no-show. But we all watched with popcorn and adult beverages, and then there's Graham pecking away madly, bouncing between Trump on Tucker and the debate. So, Graham, you have 2 minutes to set the tone for the panel discussion today.
Well, Sarah, I don't think, purely from my personal perspective, I don't think the debate should have given any Republican voters a great deal of hope for the future. I thought that was a sorry bunch of candidates, basically. I don't think any of them really had a breakout moment. Of course, as always to be expected in these kind of forums, certain candidates are going to say exactly the right thing on exactly the right subject. And that gets them an applause, that's an applause line for them. And people think, yeah, great. He or she has nailed it. Fantastic. But all in all, I don't really think anyone stood out apart from perhaps Vivek Ramaswamy, who seemed to be the one guy on the stage who at least had the courage to challenge a couple of the establishment approved narratives, particularly on the subject of global warming and on the subject of Ukraine, because these days, whether you are a Republican or a Democrat in Washington, it is taboo to argue that we should not fund this stupid war in Ukraine, which is going to be an endless conflict that we are pouring tens of billions of dollars into. And let's face it, I'm not a pro-Putin, pro-Russia guy by any means, but Ukraine is every bit as corrupt as Russia is. And really the only difference between Russians and Ukrainians is that one group calls themselves Russians and the other group calls themselves Ukrainians. We're beyond the stage now where the Russian military has been degraded to the point where it is not a threat to NATO, and that's all that we should be worried about. Ramaswamy was willing to challenge the establishment on that. And also he was willing to point out that the theory of man-made global warming is a myth and a con. And again, Republican or Democrat, you are simply not allowed to say that. So I would tip my hat to him for that. But then again, Ramaswamy has been known to flip-flop on other issues. I think a couple candidates had a couple bad moments, like Ron DeSantis, when the candidates were asked, would you support Donald Trump if he was the eventual nominee? And of course, Ron DeSantis kind of looked around to see how the others were answering before he committed himself. I think that was a terrible moment for him. And of course, Chris Christie, prevaricated. He kind of put up a little finger, but then kind of later kind of backtracked on that. And then, of course, you've got Asa Hutchinson, who is an anti-Trumper anyway. So, that was a bad moment for several candidates, but I don't think there was a breakout moment for any of them, really.
Andrew, you were lit up last night on social media. I know you followed every second. Poor Graham had to bounce, but you followed every second. And I know your favorite line of the whole night came when Chris Christie said something about Vivek being Chat GPT or something.
Yeah, because a couple of nights ago at the dinner table, we were talking about the election, and I said that Vivek Ramaswamy sounds like a Chat GPT. And lo and behold, Chris Christie says the exact same thing. So I think he probably, wiretapped my house. But anyway, Ramaswamy, he was the guy that everyone targeted. Mike Pence targeted him, Nikki Haley targeted him. Pence was the one who said, you can't be too old to be president, or you can't be too young to be president. And Nikki Haley said to Ramaswamy, you have zero foreign policy experience, and it shows. But Ron DeSantis was pretty much laid off Ramaswamy during the entire thing. Actually, he was taken aback a couple of moments by Ramaswamy. One was, Ramaswamy was putting his finger in the air, trying to find the political direction, making fun of Ron DeSantis. And then, of course, the hand raising, he had to look at what Ramaswamy was doing, a couple of other candidates. So Ron DeSantis, of all the major candidates, not Burgum or Hutchinson, but the major candidates, Ron DeSantis seemed like the weakest one, which is surprising because, as we've discussed offline, Vivek Ramaswamy's running the campaign that everyone thought Ron DeSantis was going to run. But DeSantis had all these awkward moments. At the closing arguments, he paused for a moment when they called his name as if his computer was rebooting, and then he gave an awkward smile and then started talking, giving those, the canned responses. So overall, I guess, actually one more thing. Nikki Haley, she was doing well until the second half of the debate when she started crying about Ukraine, as if she was running for president of Ukraine. So overall, the star of the show was Ramaswamy, although he smiled too much, but you can't blame him. He went from nobody to polling, second or third in the polls.
Yep. Dave, did you tune in, or are you still adamantly into the Bush people?
No, I watched the minute by minute, the entire thing. And I would say that I took away three things, and, a caution that I don't fall into a Rick Perry moment. But the winner of the night was Donald Trump, who did not participate in what would have just been nothing more than a sniping contest with him as the target. Good move. Winner of the debate, and here's where I diverge, not to be argumentative. No, actually, I do want to be argumentative, actually. Ron DeSantis was the winner, who did not stumble and kept his relative pole position. Additionally, when he was asked if he would use military force against Mexican cartels, he exclaimed, "Darn right I would." And that's what people want to hear. The loser of the debate, and I'm sorry, Vivek Ramaswamy. With an unforced error, he accused his peers of being bought and paid for. It demonstrated what everybody was accusing him of as an immature comment, and it fortified just their point of view. Also, he loses on his Ukraine position, in my view, because none of them have what I would see as the right Ukraine position. If you're against being involved in Ukraine, probably it's because of the way the Biden administration is executing their non-strategy. Well, any plan poorly executed is going to be a bad idea, and Biden can be accused of that. Geeky wireheads and conservative Gen Zers will still like him, but I thought that he did not come off well in that debate. He did not come up to my expectation.
You know what?
But how can he be wrong, though? How can Ramaswamy be wrong when he accused of being bought and paid for? You look at a lot of these candidates, who are some of the top corporate donors? The very people that Vivek Ramaswamy mentioned when Nikki Haley was defending the war, and Ramaswamy said, "Oh, you'd sound great. I wish you the best of luck in your future career serving on the board of directors of Raytheon and Lockheed Martin." So it's hard to dispute that those candidates are not bought and paid for. Perhaps it's not a direct bribe, but these defense contractors support the very people who are militaristic, who are neocons. You watch Mike Pence, all he ever was talking about was just, you have to continue this war in Ukraine no matter what. Haley was saying the same thing. Tim Scott diverged a little bit. Burgum said the same thing. Hutchinson, same thing. So Ramaswamy, he tapped into that non-interventionist streak that most Americans support. If you look at some of the polling data, most Americans want to end this war in Ukraine. Ramaswamy spoke on behalf of those very people, especially the young millennial Gen Z Republican voters.
I would say that
were even watching. None of them. No Gen Z. I don't even know if any young people are watching. And one of the things I want to point out, and I want somebody to run with it, is that Chris Christie was talking about being well behaved because that's the office, and he kept insinuating that Trump was not well behaved. Well, we all know Trump was not well behaved, but I don't think Chris Christie is either. I think he's just as big of a bully and a name caller and a poker. You. Yeah. He was rude. I didn't like him.
I think he is. I mean, Chris Christie is such a fraud, and the fact is that he's, let's face it, he's barely a Republican at all. He was the governor of one of the bluest states in the country, and that really tells you everything you need to know about him. But yes, you're right, Sarah. For Chris Christie to try to pretend that he's somehow, the presidential well-behaved, polite, civilized, and good-mannered, alternative to the brash and sometimes kind of frankly childish Trump. Well, that's nonsense, because Chris Christie can be very nasty when he wants to be, but I think, look, I mean, who can even trust Chris Christie, because he doesn't really stand for anything. Like so many establishment politicians on both sides of the aisle, he will say and do whatever it takes at that moment to get what he thinks is to get the most votes or the most donations for his next election. And who can trust a man like that? And but beyond that, I'm not sure that we're even not just wasting our time talking about Chris Christie, because he has, two chances of becoming the nominee, and that's slim, which is not a word I should perhaps use in the same sentence as Chris Christie, but slim to none are his chances.
Well, if I can
Kelly,
waste everyone's time, I'll say Chris Christie had another great moment, actually, when he made fun of Ramaswamy, when he actually plagiarized Barack Obama, saying, "Oh, I have a funny I'm the skinny guy with a funny last name," and Chris Christie called him out. And that reminded me of the time in 2016 when also Chris Christie treated Ramaswamy the same way he treated Marco Rubio. So that was another bright moment for Christie.
And I think that's one of the dangers. Ramaswamy, the one, I like the fact that he's willing to kind of buck the establishment narrative in several ways. But the one thing that concerns me about him is he does appear to be a little derivative. It's almost as if his persona that he's put together for running as president is kind of is cobbled together from multiple other people in the past. He's like a walking collage.
Conservative 2. This is the conservative 5. So you two can take it offline and argue all day long.
Come on, Graham, let's go. Come on, Graham.
Ramaswamy. And I want to hear from Kelly. Kelly either didn't watch the debate or she hated it so much she just doesn't want to say anything. So I want to hear from Kelly.
Yesterday, I was not going to ruin my birthday by watching the debate, so I did not watch it, but I was, looking over some of the recaps and things like that. And I would say, from what I saw, it looks like Ramaswamy, he's kind of also trying to be a funny Trump, not a strong Trump, with the going after the establishment. And was he the one you asked about if Trump was who would support him, or was that the moderator?
It was the whole loyalty pledge. Ramaswamy said he signed it. That's why he qualified. But he also was asked, would you pardon Donald Trump day one of your presidency? And he was one of the first one to raise his hand enthusiastically immediately. And then everyone was,
All right, guys, it's time to close this one down. You guys, I swear, I can't. It's like herding feral cats. Anyway, sorry, Kelly.
Oh, that's fine.
This is one party shaping up to be a doozy come primary season. Thanks for tuning in with our rowdy bunch, and thanks, panel. That's it for our Conservative 5 panel today. Check out our other C5 shows and segments on your favorite video platform. YouTube, Vimeo, Rumble, we're on them all. As well, Liberty Nation has its own Roku channel where you can see all of our TV productions. I'm Sarah Cowgill. Thanks for joining us today for Free Thinking, Free Speech, LibertyNation.com.